Hello, everybody. It's Joan Gregerson here with the Green Team Academy, and I am recording a session for the leaders of the Youth Proyecto Philippines 2020 Leadership Training. And so I thought I would just do it live here, and really excited to be doing this training and to be reaching out to all of the community leaders and the up and coming leaders that are in the Philippines and looking for ways to do public and private partnerships and ways to expand your impact. So, congratulations on your dedication to stepping up, and I'm very happy to be with you. I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen and get going here. So, let's see. I'll just do that. All right. So, what I want to talk to you today about is the 2020 International Climate Action Challenge. And I'm really excited because Daniel Agan is one of our mentors. So, one of the coordinators of this training is one of our mentors for this challenge. And he reached out to me and asked if I would do a training on public private partnerships. And I think this is a great example of how to do that. Before I get started, I want to just give you a little bit of background about me. My name is Joan Gregerson. My background is engineering, and I really thought that engineering was going to be the way that I would make a difference. I studied and I got a job doing building energy efficiency and renewables. And what I found was that a lot of the projects that were given to me were constrained and they weren't always in line with my values. We did projects for the Department of Defense, or we did these big complicated technology solutions that at the end of the day didn't always have the savings that we had predicted. So that was pretty disappointing. But somewhere along the way, I accidentally started an environmental nonprofit. So this was in 2014. And within the course of 2 years, our little group changed the course of history of the city. So this kind of public-private partnership idea is that our group, what we realized was that the city government needs a group of citizens, a group of residents who are continually telling the city, this is what we need you to do. And when you don't do that, then the city just balances all of its priorities. And a lot of times the environment doesn't really come to the top. So what we did during those 2 years with Sustainable Revolution Longmont was the name of the group, was we started a youth leadership council and we planned a huge Earth Day event. We had over 1,000 people, including the mayor and the city council. We had 35 youth booths. We had 35 nonprofits there. We started going to city council meetings. The young people started going and telling the city council people and the school district what they wanted. And as it happened, that by the end, the city created a sustainability plan, hired a sustainability consultant, hired a sustainability coordinator, and is now on track with its peers becoming a sustainability leader. So this was a very important thing, is that when you work alone, if you're working just through your career, even though you're 100% dedicated and committed and enthusiastic, you still may not be able to make a difference. And this is very important, is that we as people that care about the environment have been ineffective. I'm 59 years old. The population of birds, wildlife, or birds, fish, amphibians, is now 40% of what it was when I was a 10-year-old. So that shows that we have failed. And the reason we failed is because people have been doing things individually or just through their work where other people are deciding what to do, or they join a very large organization and just click and sign a petition or submit comments, but they're not empowered. So when you form a team, then people feel empowered to see what they can do, take it upon themselves to do it and realize that you are the best ones to actually make the changes that you see in your community. When you do, then you can lead your leaders to do what it is that you want. So that's a little bit about me. And so now I want to tell you about the 2020 International Climate Action Challenge, because the timing is perfect for a way that we could collaborate together. Because Daniel told me that each of you are tasked with starting an initiative. And so this would be a perfect way to do that. The idea of the 2020 International Climate Action Challenge is to help people like you take an idea and go from passion to action and to do it in 90 days. And this is a little bit about me. I told you I started Sustainable Revolution Longmont. I went on, I started another team. I mentored 20 teams in 2019. And through my podcast, and all these different things I've done, I've interviewed hundreds of people who have small teams that are making a difference on the ground. So the International Climate Action Challenge, our focus is helping launch 100 eco initiatives in 90 days. So you might be thinking, okay, well, Joan, what can you actually do in 90 days? And here's the thing, the opportunities are endless. You could do something, if you're passionate about pollinators and pesticides, you could do something like setting a goal to get 10 of your neighbors to become a pollinator safe community. You could start a program for families. We have a lot of mentors in our group that are helping people start families and using kind of a coaching approach or a book that families can use. There's just so many different ways that you could mobilize families. Or you could do like Brianna. She started Sustainable Broomfield, and they didn't have composting in their community. So she had the idea, well, why don't we set up our own kind of compost pickup drop off? So they got a bunch of buckets, they figured out a system, and they got 40 people to start composting in their first month. The next thing you could do is change your city's policy. If you want your city to go to 100% renewable, then you could set that goal and start getting petitions and present that. And that's something you could do in 90 days. Or maybe you're passionate about racial justice. I mean, this is something I think all of us care about, is racial justice, environmental justice. If you want to change the way that your city, the policing strategies, or something around criminal justice, or some kind of environmental justice with pollution in communities of color or poorer communities, you could start a petition and make something happen. In Colorado, shortly after the murder of George Floyd by police, state of Colorado passed a sweeping change in their racial justice initiative, their racial justice policies. It probably doesn't go far enough, but it's more aggressive than pretty much anywhere else. And they were able to do that in a matter of months. During this lockdown, so many kids are having a hard time not getting the exercise that they need or the social skills. Maybe you could do something where you do some kind of outdoor thing with kids. Like, how fun would that be? Or you could do something like Darwin in Zambia, where he just had this idea, I want to plant 10,000 trees. I want to do my part to mitigate climate. There's so many landslides. The evening temperatures are not dropping like they used to. And he then added to it during COVID when people were hungry. He said, oh, and what the heck, let's also start 100 community gardens. So let's train people how to grow their own food, plant trees. And this is something that he came to our weekend action plan retreat and really got going. And within 3 weeks became approved to be Earth Guardian Zambia. They went on to set up a GoFundMe page, but it all started with just his idea of, I want to do this thing. Or maybe it could be something, a business. Gather and Glow is a favorite story of mine. There was 2 young people that were having issues with their skin, and the products they tried to use to soothe it actually made it worse. So they worked with their aunt and they created natural skin products, and they convinced their aunt to go into business. So whether you want to start an informal group, a nonprofit, an NGO, a business, you could do any of those and get it going in 90 days. So now I want to just tell you about the challenge timeline. So August was when we were doing a lot of the registration, but we still have the registration open now. So you can still hop in there. And our 90-day period is September through November. Don't worry if you've missed a little bit. As I said, some people have been launching their projects in 3 weeks. So you have plenty of time still to join us. And then in December is our celebration. So there's a lot of stuff happening in our challenge period, and I'll go into some more of those details in a minute here. So really, we're all about teams. As I said before, my history, I spent decades trying to be effective, trying to do things in my community, but I didn't know to start a team. And that is my main message: is the number one climate action is start a team. So we are all about teams. And so participating in the challenge, you're coming with an idea for a team. It's not an individual project, it's a team. And then we'll have special events. So in August, we had a kickoff event. In December, we have our summit where we're featuring a lot of the projects, and we hope to be featuring some of yours from the Philippines, from this Youth Proyecto Philippines. This would be so cool. Next is the action plan. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but these are all the best practices that I've figured out that from talking to all these people and doing my own as well. The mentors, and then support and training. So the mentors are really a cool part of this. We have so many mentors, they don't even fit on one screen. Daniel is one of them. We have some others from the Philippines, Dan Diaz, Tessa Ramos, that have all kinds of experience, whether it's in entrepreneurship or native trees. Also, Clarence Gio is one of our Filipino mentors as well. But we have folks from around the world that are there to help you, from Uganda, Nigeria, and Switzerland, and the US and Canada, in project management and pretty much anything that you could imagine: zero waste, solar, anything. So how do you actually interact with the mentors? Is through our portal. So we have our Climate Action Challenge portal. It's only open to people that register as a mentor or as a challenger. Once you're in, you can create your own profile, tell people about yourself, and then you can also go read the profiles of your fellow members. You can connect and message with them individually, and you can join in our focus groups and share, ask for help each other. So how does this all work? It's all documented in this new book that was just released July 31st, and the workbook that comes along with it. This is all the best practices. These are the things I wish somebody would have said. Okay, Joan, you're 10 years old. You really care about the planet. Here's what you should do. I mean, and as a whole, and in the world, people don't know how to start an effective team and really make an impact quickly. And so that's what this is all about. So you can download the book and the workbook, and you can buy it there, or if you are interested in getting a scholarship so that you can get it for free, I'm also offering that to any of the Youth Proyecto Philippines leaders. So your 90-day action plan. So what the heck is the action plan? Well, here are just a few of the steps, but it starts with writing your own hero's journey, your personal vision statement, and then going on through these different steps. And a lot of them are surprising. For example, most people think that they're going to know what their vision and mission statement is first, but actually that really only comes about through lots of conversations. So you might say, hey, I really want to do something. I want to start a community garden. And somebody else says, well, I really want to do something at my kid's school. And there might be an overlap where that is a good thing to do. Or somebody might say, I want to get our city to create a sustainability plan. And someone else might say, well, I want to work on transportation. And so you might find overlap, or you might find that those are two different projects. And it's only through having lots of conversations will you figure out what to do. The next thing is creating your 100 ideal partners list. And so when Daniel invited me to talk, he said, will you talk about public-private partners? And this one idea right here is really incredible. You know, when we're doing a lot of the environmental work, we are telling people, no, don't do that, change that. What are you doing? Oh my gosh, that's so terrible. And it's a very negative vibe. And people, that repels people. People don't want to hear it. They just don't want to talk to you if you're just negative. So instead, you flip this around. And so one of the steps in your action plan is to develop a list of 100 ideal partners. So let's say if you were going to do a community garden, then what I want you to do is think of yourself in the center, surrounded by people who need you. So people who have grants for community gardens, people who are interested in solving childhood obesity, people who are interested in reducing cancer, in child and family welfare, nurseries, companies that are landscaping companies, the gardening club. It just goes on and on. There's universities, there's schools, there's all these different government agencies that all want you to do this thing. But you need to take the time and actually figure out who those people are and start contacting them. So the 90-day action plan, there's a lot of other details in there, which I'm not going to go through now, but just know it's part of the book and the workbook and part of the whole challenge process. So the challenge itself, it's not good for a solo project. So if you just want to write a blog, then go for it. But my experience is that that's not going to make as big of an impact as starting a team. If you want to start a blog that is a team project where you build a community around something, yes, go for it. But just writing a blog is not going to have as much impact as we're looking for, because we're looking for massive transformation. That's what's needed, right? You guys are young people. You know that the older people are not changing fast enough. And when you work alone, it's too slow. So we don't provide funding for your initiative, but we help you understand these partner outreach strategies. We don't assign you a specific mentor, but instead you're in a group. You can get in the regenerative agriculture group, the tree planting group, the zero waste group, any group that you want. You can just hop in and be part of that conversation. So we don't find members for your team. You do that, but we do connect you with people around the world that you can learn from. You schedule your team's meetings, and you are the one that makes your results happen. So there's so many people around the world. We now have, I think it's like 73 people who have signed up. So a total of over 100 people have already signed up as challengers, and with everything that you can possibly imagine, from businesses to gardens to you name it. So now I want to talk with you about the challenge goal itself. So there's really two parts to it. One is that during this 90-day period, you commit to adding a certain number of members to your team. Now, when you have these numeric goals, it's really going to help you, because if you don't have the goal, you can reach out to somebody and say, hey, are you interested in, reducing plastic waste or maybe doing a cleanup? And somebody might be like, yeah, that sounds cool. But if you say, hey, I'm part of a 90-day challenge, I need to get 10 members on my team. Will you be one of them? That's a much more compelling ask, and you're going to get more people. The people that really want to do things are going to say yes. And the people who really weren't going to do anything, they're not going to bother. You don't have to bother with them. So the second part of your goal is that you commit to a numeric goal of what you're going to achieve. So this could be, we want to plant 10 trees, or we want to start a tree nursery and collect a certain number of seeds, or have 20 people go out for a seed collection event, or get 100 signatures for a new policy. So we're providing a lot of resources at no cost, but only to people that are really serious. And here are the key terms of the project. So first is, it has to be a team project. Next is that you have to have at least 3 hours per week to spend on this. Why 3 hours per week is because the rule that I have is 2% for life. So we have been granted a free pass to live on planet Earth, where our air, it's just every breath we take, the air is right there. The rivers flow freely, the ocean flows freely. We don't have to buy those, we don't have to pay for them. They're just there for us. And so 2% for life means that to 2% of your week is 3 hours. So, in gratitude, in reverence, in stewardship, we dedicate 3 hours per week to caring for the planet. So, I know you have lots of other things that you have to do. You have to make money, you have to get your food, you have to sleep, all these other things. But 2% for life is a reasonable commitment. So, challengers invest 3 hours per week. You meet weekly with your team. If you meet monthly, you're only going to have 3 meetings and you're not going to get very much done. But when you meet weekly during this 90-day period, things are going to start happening. And it's okay that you're confused at first. That's no problem. As you have discussions, you're going to find that kind of clarity. And as you work through the action plan, that's the other piece of it, taking the steps in the action plan. You know, it's like if you go to a personal trainer, you pay a personal trainer and they say, okay, do these things. And if you don't do them, your body is not going to change. So in the same way that when we tell you, okay, go identify 10 exemplary models and tell us what you learned, that if you don't do that, you are going to not have as big of impact as you can. And then interact in the challenge portal weekly. So that's at least where you can go and talk to your mentors, talk to others around the world, share your ideas, share photos of your project. And lastly, be nice. If you have more people on your team that want to register, then great, they can all register. If only you wants to register, that's fine too. And when they go to register, they can put in the challenge number that we'll give whoever the first person is so that they can be added to your team. If you have 2 initiatives, let's say you want to do tree planting and you also want to do voter registration, you can sign up for 2 separate initiatives so you can track those separately. So what to do next? Get the book and the workbook, register for the challenge at climateactionchallenge.net/register. And after you register, you're going to download the workbook, begin working on your action plan, join the challenge portal, and jumpstart your passion project in 90 days. Okay, so now I want to show you one more thing here, which is the list of challengers, because I thought you would love seeing this. So you can see here that we've got people from around the world. We've got 17 different countries represented. So this is a really cool thing is we do weekly trainings and you can hop in to a live training. We do it twice during the day on Thursdays. And you can hop into either one and connect with people from around the world. We just did one today. We had people from 8 different countries. We had Germany, France, the UK, we had Uganda, Nigeria, and the list goes on. So that's a Philippines for sure. That's a really beautiful part of this whole experience is being able to talk with people from around the world who are excited about what you're doing. The people in the challenge are not the same people maybe in your family, in your community that you're telling about this stuff and they're like, why do you keep talking about it? No, the people in the challenge are excited and they're on the same page. So it's a way to stay encouraged and stay pumped up. So yeah, if you go to climateactionchallenge.net and click under challengers, you'll be able to see all the folks here. So Dorothy is going to start a team with a video blog or a blog to get 100 people to do urban gardening. Lua Bar is going to train 100 people to grow food in their community. Belinda in South Africa ensure that waste is no longer dumped into one of the canals in Cape Town. I hope you can see here, there's just like so many things. Develop an app, do biochar, coordinate San Francisco area youth, do tree seedlings, recycling, just so many ideas that it's really infinite what you could do in that amount of time. All right. So with that, I wish that I was here to take your questions and have discussions with you. But if you have any questions at all, then just reach out and head over to climateactionchallenge.net and register. And we can't wait to be part of this whole thing with you. Thanks so much for your dedication to caring for planet Earth. And remember, the time for action is now because there is no planet B. Okay, bye. See you soon.